A couple of years ago, Marvin released an album called Fernway. It was our attempt at gypsy jazz that we recorded during the pandemic, and in it we covered a lot of Django tunes. Now, I released some of these songs onto Instagram, and here are some of the responses I got. This is from Gypsy Jazz Memes. You should make a video on how to swing and use this as a demonstration of what not to do. That doesn't hurt. Here's one from Kevin Smet. Your La Pompe sounds like every low-energy retired Dr. Jangbang I've ever been unfortunate enough to be present for. Gypsy Jazz Meme also commented, calling Dr. Jazz, please take up golf. Now, when you get negative feedback like this on your art, you can do one of two things. A, dismiss it as negative internet shit and not think about it, or B, say, what are these people hearing in my La Pompe that is making them so hateful and spiteful? And is it something I need to change? And I thrive on negative attention. So I immediately wrote back Jazz Memes, how would you fix my La Pompe? What is the problem? Unfortunately, he did not respond, but it did send me on a quest to try to figure out what I'm doing wrong, what they're hearing, and here's what I found. So I did a lot of self-examining, filming, practicing, and I took a private lesson with Mr. Sven, who plays guitar for Yosho Stefan as his rhythm guitar player, and I found a bunch of shit I was doing wrong. So my right hand, let's start there. One thing I found is that these fingers act like a paperweight. Think about these fingers like your boost pedal if you're an electric guitar player for your acoustic playing. When you see Jimmy Rosenberg play like this, like that chicken hand thing, that's basically the farthest you can stretch your fingers, and that's the most boosted you can get your tone, your sound, your impact. Now let's do an experiment by shaking our hands. This is the loosest, freest, widest motion you have, and it's characterized by your fingers being flared out. Now imagine you're holding a pick, and let's do that kind of thing. So this is putting out the match in the widest way, and that's how Jimmy Rosenberg plays guitar. That's that fast, aggressive, loudest you can possibly play while being loose. Now when you look at people like Yosho Stefan and everybody else, they just have their fingers sort of open, but not flared, right? They do this. But everybody, and I mean everybody who's good at rhythm guitar, plays with a closed fist. So it's not really tightening the fingers all the way, but it's also not this. And I was playing La Pompe like this. That was a mistake. So if I do this, with my fingers sort of flared out, it creates this angle of playing that's a little bit too flared out and too loud. That's a part of how you duck your sound behind another player. If you hear two people playing at the same time on acoustic guitars that are approximately the same volume with the same kind of picks, how is the rhythm guitar player ducking his sound? And it's by tightening his pattern. So if you just think about this pattern with a closed fist compared to this pattern with flared fingers, you immediately notice that it's wider. It's going on a bigger pendulum swing trajectory. So the first thing you want to do is close your hand a little bit. As opposed to, which you can really, I don't know if part of it is psychological, psychosomatic, but it's easier to control. So close your fucking hand. That's lesson number one. Number one thing I was doing wrong. Right? All right. Here's the number two thing, and this one is really, really, really important. I was playing a lot of voicings in the classical position. So if you take a look at my left hand thumb, it was stationed behind the neck. So let's play an A minor 6 to experiment with this. You can play an A minor 6 with the correct voicing, this shell voicing, in a few ways. Your thumb could be right here. And if it is, the motion of pumping is sort of that, but you want the pumping to be a squeeze. You want it to be like you're holding a cup or your phone or the guitar neck, this kind of thing. You want the rhythm to be felt by tightening against the fretboard. And that puts the rhythmic feeling in your left hand as opposed to doing this, fingers against thumb its hand closing around the entire neck. So that was a much, much more crucial thing. So if I'm playing a typical turnaround in gypsy jazz, like 1 first inversion, flat 3 diminished, 2-5, that's a great thing to practice, because the first 2 voicings you have to play in a classical kind of position. There's no real way to voice this with your hand around, with your thumb around. This stretch right here is too wide. So here's the first chord, second chord. Now when I play an A minor 7, I'm hopping and I'm putting my thumb on the E string behind that middle finger note, just to be able to pump a little bit. So the motion is this motion. Watch the difference between this and this. You see that? Let me just comp for a little bit with a closed fist and pumping. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Now, another thing you really want to concentrate on when you're grooving, and it doesn't matter what style of music you play, is not to feel the music in one. That's the most important
thing that you could possibly do.
And that's a mistake that I wasn't making, but a lot of people do make it. So when you practice a lot with a metronome, it can create this illusion that the clicks are time, but the dance is time. Music universally is meant to bring people from one foot to the other. 2 feet is a pretty common phenomena in the human world, and dancing is how we feel music. And you have to understand that there's a transfer of weight that happens from right to left, to right to left, or left to right, however you want to feel it. But a backbeat transfers you from here to here, to here to here. Feeling the music in one is just banging the clicks, not visualizing the dance. But if I'm thinking about it had to be you, it's not it had to be you. It had to be you. That would be like a weird African dance where you're hopping in place. That's not how we feel swing. Swing swings your body from right to left. It had to be you. It had to be you. However you want to interpret that internally is great. Really fast tempos, if you do that, you're going to shake the liquids in your head and going to get confused, dizzy, fall, and die. Don't do that. You have to find an internal place to do it, but you have to imagine hot swing, like people dancing their ass off. This is dance music at the end of the day, even the fast tempo shit. So you have to imagine this physical interpretation of the backbeat. So one, it's not tuck, 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 tuck. It's swinging, like a mechanical metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're not putting that motion in it, you're not going to play this shit well. You're not going to be able to project the groove to the listener. So if I'm thinking about minor swing, before I even start playing it, I want to imagine how I'm trying to make a human body move, right? And all this right hand, left hand stuff is a way of cutting the sounds to size and getting the sounds right. But if it's not writing this concept of how this groove should affect a person, nothing is going to work. So the first thing you want to do is be able to sing the groove. Boom, chickadoom, 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 chickadoom. That's the feeling. When people say a time feel, that is what you're trying to feel. So if I'm thinking about minor swing, think about the melody. Boop, 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 do, 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 Right now I did it without any time feel, right? I'm just singing it basically on nothing. But what's it housed inside? Now, that's the idea. I'm trying to project this feeling that I'm honestly feeling, this dance. I am the person in charge of making the people move. Everything is riding on me. So my job as an accompanist is to project the groove and also duck my sound under the soloist and not get in his way. The last thing that I personally was doing wrong was playing too short with my left hand. And that's something that you can easily get into when you're not pumping this way. The way to practice that is just feel time in your left hand without using your right hand, which doesn't sound like much, but let's say I'm playing all of me, right? So here's the melody. All of me. A great way to practice is just play the chord. It's not going to sound like much. It's almost like there's like a chicken wing thing happening here. Like now, without the right hand, it's not going to add up to much. On video, it's hard to communicate this process, but you really want to swing from here. Imagine. Now, a mistake you can do is bend your knuckles to get some notes in the voicing, like this, right? So do this kind of thing. That creates this arrhythmic feeling. So you see this finger is bending. And at that point, I'm kind of like smushing my fingers like that. I want everything to be sort of crisp and tight. So you want to make the quarter note rhythm with your left hand short, but not staccato. It just needs to be quarter note détaché, like pa, 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 to where the upbeats catch the ghost. A one, two, 3. So I'd like to take a moment to thank Gypsy Jazz Memes and the other hobos for their online negativity, because they have inspired me to practice and go figure out what's wrong and teach you guys some things too. Don't forget to leave a comment below for a chance to win a free month on our Patreon, which is the Mega Patreon, the Patreon that dwarfs all other Patreons. We also have shirts now, so buy some merch down there in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, do all the things, tell your grandparents about the channel. They love jazz, and we'll see you next time.